LinkedIn's new contacts feature is designed to bring your contacts together in one place, i.e. LinkedIn. And there's also an iPhone app that is as yet only available to users in the US. Now, you don't automatically get this at the moment on LinkedIn, so if you want it, then go to contacts.linkedin.com and hit get started. The first thing you notice when you go to LinkedIn, when you go to your connections, is it looks different. So you see this back box, and this basically tells you who in your network has had any changes in their lives. So it could be that it's their birthday, they've got a promotion or a new job. So you can very quickly see that information and click through and congratulate them as appropriate. You'll also then see on the right hand side, and it could be you have to scroll if it's a busy day, your calendar. One of the things you can do in this feature is to sync your Outlook or Yahoo or Gmail contacts. And so if your calendar is synced, you can view it here. And then you could look at who you've got a meeting with. If they're on LinkedIn, you can very quickly click through to their profile. You'll then see all your contacts, and it's sorted by recent conversation, but there's a number of other categories you can use. Alphabetical is currently by first name. The one I particularly like is Lost Touch. It's amazing how time flies, and if you've synced your other accounts, LinkedIn does look at activity on those platforms. But if you haven't been in touch with someone for a while, you could just quickly look through and see who you need to reconnect with, and it just prompts you to do that. You can also view by company or title or location, which can all be useful for new business development purposes or if you're traveling and so on. Sources just tells you where that came from. So were they a LinkedIn contact or did you import them from Outlook or somewhere else? Potential merges allows you to deduplicate contacts. So if somebody has got two profiles, it just allows you to see just the one in this version. And hidden just shows you all your contacts, regardless of whether or not they're on LinkedIn. Now, when you first use this feature, it will take you to a form that allows you to sync your accounts. And if you've been in there, then you just click Add Contacts and sync email contacts and more, and continue. And you see this form. So you can sync a number of tools. Now, Outlook, I'm currently unable to sync, and so are a couple of my other connections in New Zealand. Now, LinkedIn haven't yet come back to me, but I suspect it's because I don't have a USA-based email host. And because this was rolled out through the States, it may just not have yet been fully released internationally. Other things you can do is download Cardmunch if you want, and sync Evernote and TripIt. So if you've got meeting notes or anything that you want to pull into LinkedIn, you can do so here. And TripIt, if you're traveling, you can see who else is going to be in the same place at the same time and set up meetings. And you can also import contacts. You want to make sure that your time zone is set correctly, because if you do use LinkedIn to set up meetings, you need to make sure that you're looking at the same time as other people. And export your LinkedIn connections periodically, something I advise you do. This feature is a mini CRM, but it is unfortunately surprisingly easy to be blocked from LinkedIn for a period of time. And so you don't want to lose all that information. So exporting your LinkedIn connections at least means you've still got all their contact details. Now, ways that you could get thrown out of LinkedIn could be that you send too many messages in a day, or enough people say that they don't know you when inviting them to connect. You just want to avoid this being your sole CRM system for that reason. Now, when you go into somebody's profile, you'll see that there's a new section. So this relationship section here, where you can add a note about the person. You can put a reminder. So LinkedIn will say, what should you remind you about? Maybe a phone call, maybe a follow-up. And there's set times when LinkedIn will remind you. If you select recurring, again, you can't decide when LinkedIn will remind you, but at least there are a few options. You can also put in how you met the person and who introduced you. And this feature makes it easier to tag them. So you can either add a new tag or choose one of your existing ones, which is great because if you're working on a project and you need a building surveyor, you could come to LinkedIn and look at your building surveyor tags to see who you know and could put them in touch with. The other thing is it shows your discussions with that person. And if you've synced your other accounts, it will also show email exchanges within those accounts. So it's just a great way of keeping up with the activity. So that's a really brief introduction to LinkedIn Contacts. I hope that you found it useful.